Is there any crime that the former president could commit that would disqualify him from your vote?
No,
What if he killed someone?
no.
And would it be that would be a bridge too far for you?
Killing someone.
A crime, and we're talking about felonies and crimes here. Is there something
They don't even know. They don't even know what the crime was.
Does that give you pause at all, voting for someone who was convicted of a felony?
Absolutely not. That was a sham trial, and Joe Biden showers with his daughter.
We have a separation of church and state.
You know, it might be to some people, but not to me.
It's a good Lord that put us here. It's a good Lord that wrote the Constitution. That's what it's all about.
America is actually following Christ more than we think. And I think that God knows this.
Nobody really cares whether they're eating the dogs and the cats except the owners of the dogs and the cats in the area. What we do care about is unfettered illegal immigration coming across our border.
But he's talking about cats and dogs, right?
So in the Haitian culture, they do actually sacrifice the cats and dogs as animals.
Not happening in Springfield, right?
You never know.
47% of people said in a recent poll that they're fearful of civil war in this country. Do you feel like we're close to that?
I mean, yes. Yeah.
In what way? I mean, we can't have a land war like we had in the 1860s, probably, right?
Keeping all illegal immigrants is going to happen no matter what.
How did you find Barbie and Ken in those American outfits, Shu?
What they say, it's all about the friends we made along the way, and we made a few of them. Yeah, I mean, it's been we've gone to at least 20 of those Trump MAGA rallies there, and it does immersing yourself with these people, and I know you've done it too, David. It gives you perspective. It's perspective that they don't have and that I wouldn't have unless I was doing it. And so there is some value to it in that you see what makes them tick. But it also, I should say that, people ask me, like, how do you do it? How can you stand to people? Well, at first in 2015 and 2016, when I was covering Trump, it was more difficult because these were people who were so unpleasant and rude, and in some cases violent, and were people who were demeaning what I was doing for a living by saying it was fake when I was trying not to make it fake. The 6th district of Arizona notwithstanding, mistakes are mistakes, but when you're earnestly trying to tell the story, and then it became kind of sad to me. It became kind of sad because of what we just saw, which is people who are taking as gospel what this man is saying, repeating it verbatim to you, telling them that they get their news from websites and places that they do their research that don't have editors, that don't have fact checkers. And it got I started to feel a little sympathy for these people. I don't know if that happened for you.
Yeah, no, I agree because people are surprised when I say, and I think you've had generally the same experience. Generally, people are polite. I mean, they are very sort of strong in their views, but if they're willing to sort of talk to a camera and they may not necessarily know who we are, or they do know who we are, they're still willing to engage, and they're willing to say, well, this is what I believe. I believe that they're eating cats and dogs, or I believe that, Joe Biden is the demon, or whatever they're going to say. And what they say is sometimes so off the wall, but they're pleasant to you, and they're the sort of people who, oh, you need some water? Here, have some water. I mean, yeah, they're generally nice. The only problem we had on the road is, I think it may have been in North Carolina, where one of the rallies we went to where some of the Proud Boys rolled up, and either we had like a mic flag that said TYT, or they reckon it, whatever it was, and they parked their Jeep literally like 40 feet from where our camera was, and they just started blasting music so that we literally couldn't hear ourselves and couldn't hear the people we're talking to. So we asked them politely, do you mind turning it down? And the guy said, no, I do mind. I'm going to keep blasting my music. Okay, so we had to go to the other side of the arena to interview people there. But that was it. I mean, other than, like that guy being a bit of a jerk. Sure, have you had any issues where people
nothing
or anything?
Nothing less or greater than that. I mean, people who are disruptive, people when they see the TYT mic flag are sort of, get upset about it, or they have no clue. Most of them have no clue what the Young Turks are. But if there's one person in line, he'll start saying, they're liberals, don't talk to them. They're liberals, don't talk to them, don't talk to them. Tell Cenk this, tell Anna that, or whatever, So that's the kind of stuff you get. So and more often than not, we'd remove the the Mike flag, and then no one would have any clue. And yeah, I mean, I've met some super nice people. One, a farmer in Iowa and his wife, who invited me out to his farm during the next caucuses for a barbecue. I mean, you know, difference of opinion, off the wall opinions about Trump, but nonetheless, you know, good people. And that's what makes it sort of sad. And it is somewhat cult-like. Let's take a look, Ashley, if we can, to some more of our goodies from the road.
What about Vice President Harris?
I think she's a dumpster fire.
Tell me about if Donald Trump does not win, what do you do?
I hope that I'm going to die. I don't want to live like this anymore. You like our country the way it is now?
If Vice President Harris were to run, how would that make you feel?
Worse than Biden.
In what way?
All.
Specifically?
She does nothing right.
For me, I go to a super liberal school, and I still couldn't say, like, I don't know who could put up a proper fight against Trump at this point.
What about Vice President Harris?
No.
Who would be the best candidate for the Democrats to run right now against Donald Trump?
Honestly, they have a very weak bench. I can't even really think of anybody. Kamala is so disliked, even not just by Republicans and independents, but her own party.
I care about him because, you know, he loves America and he's different. He's not the regular politician guy. And that's why it made me vote for my first time in my life in 2016.
What we saw, you know, in that last guy, I mean, a lot of people came to the party because of Donald Trump, came to not the political party, just the event and the spectacle of politics because Donald Trump and all the things that Donald Trump said he wanted to do and who he wanted to represent. They held on to that promise, but they feel like he kept his promise when he did the opposite. And so it's very interesting to me to going to these things, and people will ask, they say, well, it looked like there were a lot of people there, or people, they always show people leaving or empty seats. And I tell people that so many of the MAGA enthusiasts who drive and go to these rallies all over the country, like they're following the Grateful Dead or Fish or something, they also are just there for the tailgate. They're not really there for the game. They're there to commiserate with the people that are like them, that seem to be getting their news from the same place. They're on message boards together, and they're not really there to listen to Donald Trump. So many of them leave early. Many of them don't even go in at all. And it's a sociologically fascinating thing to go to these rallies.
And that sense of community, Shu, I think is I'm so glad you mentioned that, because it does feel like people who may believe or feel like, the young college student, that he can't talk about his real sort of views around his college mates because he'll be criticized or whatnot. So he goes to these sort of rallies where he's able to find like-minded folks who may also be drinking the Kool-Aid, if you want to use a cult-like pun, but they enjoy being with each other, and they're generally sort of polite people, and they wave the Trump flags, and they get to see their friends and their buddies, and it is a whole sort of rock concert-like spectacle in which, they know all the Trump lines and they know all the Trump stories and the issues, but they're there to sort of feel like they're part of a community. And as we've seen with sports and sometimes with religion, when you experience something with a group of other people, there is something that's kind of rewarding about it. My theory, Shu, is that particularly with younger people, and we saw a couple of younger people that you spoke with, I think there's particularly younger white males who sort of feel lost in the sort of society that we're in now and feel like they're not allowed to sort of show their machismo or to say things that are politically incorrect. And along comes Donald Trump, and it's like Donald Trump gives them permission to do that. And you combine it with a society where there's, technological transformation and economic transformation that's happening so quickly, and a lot of fears about why our communities are changing so quickly. And Donald Trump comes along and gives them the answer and says, well, it's because we need to go back to where we were when there was a little bit sort of more stability. And for people who feel lost in this politically correct society with the pronouns or whatever it is, Donald Trump's community then becomes somewhat appealing, particularly if they're people who don't necessarily think so well for themselves.
Yeah, and I, one of the questions that I was asking them at the last or the second to last rally that I went to is, what happens to MAGA when this is all over? If Trump were to lose, what happens to MAGA? Many of them said, oh, we go on, we forge on. It's not going anywhere. Look at this. They'll say, look around, look at this. Many of them will say, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen to it. And I do think that a lot of people that came to this because of Trump will recede from it when he is off the stage. And I don't say that as someone who would like to see him off the stage. I say it because there's a cult-like thing about this that we I don't know enough to say what is and what is not a cult, but the behavior, the adherence to the word of one person, the traveling all over the country to see that one person and listen to them and agree with whatever it is they say and laugh at the things they do that aren't funny. The reverence is there. And if he's off the stage, I don't see a lot of them coming back. Yes, some people got into politics because of Donald Trump. There's no question. And they're going to be there. They're going to be Republicans. They may even challenge their own party at times. But I think a lot of them are going to fall by the wayside. Interested to know if you.
Absolutely. And it almost makes me think, I mean, who could come along that would have that both Donald Trump charisma and the sort of sense of timing and humor? And I think that a lot of his stuff is not very funny, but a lot of the Trump supporters, they love to laugh at jokes that are sort of inappropriate, that they can't really say in their schools or their communities or wherever, or even amongst their friends. And so Donald Trump enables them the opportunity to say things that are kind of outlandish. And when you ask them about it, they say, oh, that's just Donald Trump's sense of humor. He's not really going to have the CIA kill somebody. He doesn't really want Mike Tyson to go in a ring and have a fight with Kamala Harris, as Trump suggested the other night. It strikes the rest of us as that's horrific. The idea that you sort of have this image of Mike Tyson punching Kamala Harris. Why would you say that? That only, I mean, that's so stupid on so many levels, but that's Donald Trump's sort of shtick. And I don't see anybody else that's on the political horizon, even somebody like a J.D. Vance or Ron DeSantis, they may agree with Donald Trump's issues in terms of America first, an isolationist foreign policy, cracking down on immigration, economic policy, whatever it is, but they don't have that same, I think, ability to sort of joke and resonate with people in terms of the political incorrectness in a way that makes people laugh, like how Donald Trump can do it.
Yeah, and he puts them into a frenzy. I mean, and the only person I've ever seen at a Trump rally who is able to engender that kind of sort of fandom and that kind of frenzy and that kind of swooning, David, is you. And we have a little bit of tape here. This is David Schuster.
Here we go.
This is David Schuster among the MAGA crowd.
I love this guy. Oh my God, he is so cute.
If it's somebody that Donald Trump supports, so you'll vote for them.
Right. What do you think? What do you think?
Okay, hello everybody.
Hello.
Hello. Can I interview your friend now?
I love you, dude. What's your name?
I'm David.
David.
Yeah.
From
Connecticut.
I love him though. Is he married?
Melania's great.
Are you married?
I am, thank you, but I am flattered. Thank you.
MAGA almost wrecked a home there, David, didn't it?
You know, I made a couple big mistakes in that interview, Shu. In the moment when you said, "What's your name?" The immediate thing that sort of flashed to me is I could say Cenk Uygur,
Right.
or I could say Michael Schur, and give them, Michael Schur's phone number, and then have them call up because I had your phone number memorized. And then I just, my name's David, because I was a little bit sort of nervous with what she was doing and where she was sort of grabbing, and so I wasn't on my game as far as razzing a little bit, Shu. But the other thing about it is it goes to show that I think most of the people who are at these, and by the way, those ladies I think were tanked. One of them said she hadn't had a drink in 3 years until that day. They have a
You
lot of
drove
fun.
her to drink. You drove her
And
to
they
drink.
just, get a little sloppy and like to flirt and joke around. And there is a sort of funniness and politeness and sweetness about the folks, even if you're able to separate their political views and their views about other people in the society out of it, just on a human to human level. Those are the sort of interactions that, give you some sort of hope. Next time, though, Shu, when you do get a call from whatever that woman was in North Carolina saying, "Hi, Michael, we met earlier," you'll know what happened.
I'll know exactly who set that up. I did have a moment like that in Michigan where I was invited back to someone's house for dinner, but I didn't go. And to get me to not go to dinner is quite a thing. But yeah, so I mean, again, these are generally speaking nice and misguided people, and the road in covering this stuff is all about that. I mean, you get to meet a lot of Americans when you cover politics around the country, and MAGA is a big part of it. When this chapter of history is written, hopefully, they'll cover a little bit of what we've been able to cover, because it kind of changed the country in many ways, in ways that I think a lot of us agree were not terrific ways.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.